Okay, what's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to a Friday edition of Morning Scone, presented by Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, Parish Construction and Roofing. Need an orthopedist? You go to Brock. Need a roof? You call the winner of the best roofing company and the best of Baton Rouge, Parish Construction and Roofing. Unique physique, unique aesthetics and wellness. Restored Motions, restoredmotions.com. Boatcock Brothers Premium Cigars. Code MAT15, MAT15, MAT15 for 15% off your order. Okay, what's up, everybody? Good morning. Glad you're here. Saints had a couple of days of OTAs, so out on the practice field. Media availability was on Thursday, so the media got to go watch team run around. Just helmets, a lot of install, really just football-like activities to get guys running around in shape, kind of gearing up toward training camp, which will begin at the end of July. We also did learn the Saints 3 preseason games. They'll be at home against Jacksonville, and then they'll play at the Rams, at the Cowboys. Looks like they're going to have joint practices for all 3 preseason games, which I like that as long as nobody gets hurt. I guess that's the preface for everything. And a massive recruiting weekend for LSU. 5 official visitors. 5 official visitors on campus, including Jalen Brewster, who's the number 1 player in the country. If you haven't seen Jalen Brewster, by the way, hang on, I'll show you a picture. He's a defensive lineman. Where is it? Hang on. He's a defensive lineman. And of course, I'm trying to find it. I can't find the picture. Bruce. Brewster is a defensive lineman from Texas. He's listed at like 6'3". Here you go. He's listed at 6'3", 300 pounds. But this is a guy, like, if you look at him, like if he were playing baseball and needed to wear a fitted hat, I don't know if they make a fitted hat big enough for this dude's head. He's so massive. Look, this is him with Kevin Peoples. Like, that dude is in high school. Look at his hand. He's a massive guy. So, anyway, Brewster is a defensive tackle committed to Texas Tech. He's on campus this weekend for an official. So is Abraham Cisse, who's a defensive end from the East Coast, uncommitted. Notre Dame, Penn State, kind of thought to be the leaders there, but LSU's taking their swing. Marquez Davis, Corey is a Corey Raymond guy, 6'3", 185, long, kind of a project, but he's on campus. And then, of course, the other 5 starts on campus is Easton Royal. So Brewster, Cisse, Royal, those are the big 3 5-stars on official visits this weekend. So big weekend for Lane Kiffin's Tigers with some prospects on campus. So, okay, please smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, Facebook, like the page, share the post. If you're on podcast, please subscribe on your favorite podcast app. We appreciate you as well. We'll say some good mornings here. Hey, Jacob, good morning. Thomas, Tiger Poppy, good morning. We sometimes RV. Ready for some LSU football. We got a ways to go, y'all. Hey, Michael, good morning. We'll be in Baton Rouge in July for an engagement celebration. I got outvoted on dinner at Supper Club. We're considering Drusilla instead. Good choice. You could not have more dramatically opposed options than Supper Club and Drusilla. You can have a good meal at Drusilla. You can. Supper Club is it's modern, it's steak, it's like the best of anything that you'll ever have. It doesn't matter if you get steak or fish or whatever. It's, you dress up, it's chic, it's fun. Drusilla is, you can have a good meal at Drusilla. It's old. And old ain't bad. They're polar opposite options. Like there's just nothing similar about those two options. But yeah, but you can have a good meal at Drusilla Seafood. You can, but there's nothing like. Oh, someone can help me if yeah, it's not a knock on Drusilla. It's good. Like you can get a good meal at Drusilla. They're just not. They're not the same. Day 161. Let's go, Thomas. All right. Hey, Matt. Good morning. Of the three men's sports this year at LSU, what is the biggest shocker and why? Baseball. Baseball. I mean, look, we were optimistic about football. You know, but the SEC is really hard, and you load up a tough schedule, and you have some injuries, and things can fall apart. Basketball is awful. I mean, they were awful a year ago. But baseball not making the postseason is stunning. Like if you would have told me maybe they would have ended up a 2 seed traveling for regional, I could be like, okay, well, we've seen that before. Like after after the national championship in 24, and you had the lull. I'd be like, okay, I could see it. Maybe have a little let down after the championship. Not making the postseason, that's just stunning. Hey, Sean, good morning. Hey, Brian, good morning from Leland, North Carolina. Good to go. Hey, Jacob, good morning. Tiger Baseball, good morning. Best day weekend of the year. NCAA regionals are my favorite. More upsets than March Madness or any other sport. Rocking my CWS polo. Wish the Tigers were playing. I'm there with you, man. It does feel very odd today. Normally, on Friday of regionals, we've been ramping up. We've been interviewing all the coaches coming to the Baton Rouge Regional. We've been talking about pitching plan, how Jay said I was pitching for the weekend, who they're going to match up against, what regional they're paired with, and none of that this week, which is a bummer, man. So a lot of SEC spring meetings and Saints OTAs. It's a bummer. I don't like it. Hey, Jesse, good morning. Adam, good morning. Have a great weekend. Guy Brooks, good morning. Rooney, Falcon with a hat, good morning. Hey, Dad, good morning. Hope your week's going great. Ryan Amanda Guidry, good morning. Hey, Jason, what's up, man? Good morning. Phil, morning, Matt and Drew. Wishing my Lamar Cardinal success this afternoon against the Aggies. There you go. Yeah, I am not a pull for the conference guy. So if Lamar upsets Texas A&M, if any of these SEC teams fall, it ain't gonna hurt my feelings. So I'm not out there like pulling for the league. I mean, I'd just assume watch UCLA win a national championship. Let's see. Man, y'all quiet this morning. Jack, good morning. Brad, does Will Wade have a backup plan if a lot of these guys are ruled ineligible? Well, I'm sure. But the thing is, I think they've pretty well exhausted the portal. One thing we haven't really talked about this week is Alan Graves. That news happened while I was flying home from Arizona on Tuesday. But, Graves if you missed it, is staying in the NBA draft. So I don't know that it's a tremendous surprise, but that's one they were hoping to get. So Graves is from Ponchatoula, was Mr. Basketball in Louisiana, had light offers, went to Santa Clara, redshirted last year, and then this year became the West Coast Conference Freshman of the Year, sixth man of the year. Had really just a breakout season, and entered the draft, but also entered the portal. So he had a couple of decisions to make based on what his draft projection was. He would either stay in the draft or he would go in the portal if he went, or he would transfer. And the two schools he was considering were Duke and LSU. And I was told that LSU was going to match whatever Duke offered him in NIL rev share, whatever. So you had a real shot to get Alan Graves, but he's decided to stay in the draft. So a little bit of a bummer. And then I think the two players of all the international guys, like this is the thing. You're asking about the international guys being ineligible. Like there's two guys that really are only a question. It's RJ Lewis, which isn't really a question. He's ineligible, but they're going to sue to try to get him eligible, which I am not in favor of. And then Yam Madar, if he still has eligibility, and if he does, it's a waiver because of his military service. So in Israel, he had military. So that's the guy who's 25. And I guess for me, what I don't like is how a lot of people have seen that instance, right, of Yam Madar, who's 25, and they're basically painting with a broad brush because Yam Madar is 25, and that's an outlier. But you look at the other international guys, and there's no reason any of them would not be eligible. We've gone through this. It's a very common thing that guys that play pro internationally come over to the States and play in college. I went through this last week. Florida currently has including their commits, has 7 guys on their roster that are former international professional basketball players. Like that's so it's a strategy that LSU hasn't necessarily used, but a lot of people in college basketball do. So it's unfamiliar for an LSU fan looking at roster building this way, but it's not unfamiliar in college basketball. The thing that's annoying is that it only seems to bother people when Will Wade does it when everybody else is doing it. So I fully expect that all of them will be eligible, except obviously RJ Lewis is not going to be eligible. They're going to have to go to court for that. And I wish they wouldn't. I wish they would just stop pursuing him. And then the other is Yam Madar, who I think is going to be eligible because of his military service. So he should be able to play, even though he's 25. But the rest of them, there's no reason why any of them wouldn't be eligible. Let's see. Devin, what up, dude? Kevin, good morning. Leon, good morning. Colson, what up? Will you ever run the 40 like Rich Eisen does at the combine? You're like full suit, dress shoes, and all that stuff. I don't know why I would. I mean, I don't go to the combine. We did the media pro day 16 years ago in 2010 before LSU's pro day, and it did not go well for most media members. Hey, Manny. How's Drew and Erica? They're good, man. Thank you for asking. Sleeping right now. Erica's got the day off of work, and so she's going to go get her nails done at 9. And Drew's just going to sleep and then have himself a day. Let's see. Good morning. Happy Friday. Bubba Smith, good morning. Kevin, Saints rookie crawfish bowl was a blast. Very cool. Henry, morning, Matt. A bit concerning that an injured player in college now is being limited in his first practices as a pro. So you're talking about Jordan Tyson. I don't know, Henry, that's necessarily concerning. I think I'll put it to you this way. If they get to camp and he's limited, then I'll maybe be a little concerned. You have a guy coming off a soft tissue injury that cost him a chunk of his season. I don't need him to be a full go. I'm talking about Saints first round pick Jordan Tyson. I don't need him to be a full go in rookie minicamp or OTAs. I need him to be a go week 1 when the Saints play at Detroit. You know what I mean? And so if anything now, delays that, that's just not worth it. So I would say, yeah, man, take it slowly. But again, like you drafted a guy that you knew had that injury history. So get him healthy. Alan Moore. Eric Wilderrotter, good morning. Curious if you think Vandy not getting in with 14 conference wins changed your thought process, the bar getting into the tourney. I guess 13 doesn't. No, it's not. It's not that. So again, so like 13 typically has been the benchmark. It's not a be all end all. It's not to say definitively if you get to 13, you get in. But that typically is the number. So so Vandy got to 14 wins. But their RPI was 72. So that's the problem. When I think back to just do it. So like in 2024, LSU's RPI was 15. So like they had 13 league wins. But there were 15 in the RPI. So like naturally, if you got a top 20 RPI and you get to 13 wins, like you're gonna clear that hurdle easily and get in. Vanderbilt's RPI in the 70s is ultimately what hurt it. Let's see. Christian, more Matt. After being called out, doesn't Texas have to attempt to play Tech? No, I don't. I think that's stupid. For those who haven't seen it, so Steve Sarkisian made some comments. I think I might actually do a video on this. So Steve Sarkisian said, Sark's comments. Okay, here you go. Sark's comments said, he was at a booster event and said, there's a team in our state in another conference with a schedule that I would argue if I played our 2s and 3s, we could go undefeated and they'll probably make the CFP this year. So obviously he's talking about Texas Tech, who last year played 3 ranked opponents, and one of them was the Big 12 title game. And 2 of those ranked opponents were BYU. The other was Utah, who obviously stunk. So Sark is basically calling out Texas Tech's schedule. Well, Tech now, they're in their big booster, Cody Campbell, has said, we'll buy out the week 1 games for Texas and Texas Tech so they could play in Jerry World this year. Which, of course, they know is not going to happen because Texas plays Ohio State week 2. So Texas is not going to play Texas Tech week 1 and Ohio State week 2. It's just stupid. There's no reason to do that. Again, like there's no reason to put yourself at a competitive disadvantage. I would love to see a world where I've said it all the time, where every school plays 12 Power 4 games and this becomes the norm and you're rewarded for playing that game. But there's no reason why Texas would put itself at a competitive disadvantage to play that game against Texas Tech the week before they play Ohio State. It's dumb. You already played 9 SEC games and you've got Ohio State, which is 10. So then you play an 11th Power 4 opponent. Just not realistic. And Texas Tech knows it. So they can go posture and say, oh, well, we'll play you. We'll play you week 1. We'll buy the games, knowing full well there's no chance that Texas agrees to do that. You want to get on a future schedule? Okay. But thinking that's going to happen week 1 is not real. And so Tech can go throw that out there and seem like they're puffing out their chest. And if they don't have Brennan Sorsby anyway, they're going to stink. So maybe Texas should do it. But anyway. So no, I don't think Texas has to play them. I think it's stupid. If I'm Texas, I don't even respond to them. Michael Cook, good morning. Leon, as much as I love AK, I think he's played his last game for the Saints. I tend to agree. But Leon, I also think a big part of that is how the rest of the running back room fares. So for example, like Kendra Miller's coming off a torn ACL. Kendra Miller coming off a torn ACL. Devin Neal was injured a season ago as well. So, like, what does your depth at running back look like? Like, how do they feel about their running back depth? They feel good about Audric Estime still around. Like, if they feel good about their running back depth, then yeah, I think AK is gone. It's why they restructured his contract to give themselves that out if they needed it.
Parish Construction and Roofing. At Parish, we've got you covered. From the top of your roof, all the way down. Parish Construction and Roofing. Parish built. Parish built. Parish built. From your hometown, parishbuilt.com.
Okay, Parish Construction and Roofing. Remember, if you need North Petest, go to Brock. All the subspecialties, they're the best. Locations all over Greater Baton Rouge. And Brock Rock and Wine returns in August. Looking forward to that. Inside of the South Stadium Club at Tiger Stadium. Hope to see all of you there. Parish Construction and Roofing. Tons of rain. Been raining every day. If you got issues with your roof, we'd love to help you out. And the state of Louisiana has just expanded the Fortified Roof Program. So 3,000 homeowners will be awarded grants up to $10,000 to fortify their roof. If you want more info, we've got a link at the top of the homepage at parishbuilt.com. Parishbuilt.com. Hey, Thomas, good morning. Lemon cookies. Judy, no one's school. Judy, don't go to the combine, Matt. They'll flag your injuries, take you up the draft board. That's a fact. Judy, that's a fact. Undraftable. Eric, did you happen to see the UCLA quarterback that entered the portal as a track athlete but will play football? Is this a viable workaround for the football portal window? I did see that, and I think it's pretty interesting. So, again, like he is so for those that missed it, apparently he's a two-sport guy at UCLA. So the football portal window, the January portal window is closed. So you can't transfer now as a football player, right? But spring sport portal window is about to open June 1. So as a track athlete, he's entering the portal to transfer, but plans to play football wherever he transfers. So it'll be interesting to see. Because remember, if a coach takes a player outside of the portal window, that coach can be suspended now. So it's really interesting to see if that works, or if the NCAA like allows it. Because I mean, if you're already a scholarship athlete in one sport and you transfer in the portal window, I mean, that'll be a fascinating precedent. So let's see, Bill, good morning. Do you think timing for hiring Coach O wants to have? Do you think the timing for hiring Coach O was to have home for this weekend's elite recruits? I think that's certainly part of it. I don't know if it's necessarily that's the timing. It wouldn't it have made a lot of sense if he was there for spring? You know, like And he could have. I mean, he was already living here. You could have hired him. You could have gone through spring practice and helped in that transition and all. That's one thing why I'm curious why they didn't do it before spring. Um, but yeah, I mean, as far as not doing it during spring and doing it now, it certainly helps. I mean, you got Jalen Brewster on campus, who's the number one player in the country as a defensive lineman. So, Leslie, good morning. Drew, good morning. This morning I listened to Locked On. I agree with you. The number one player will be a lift, especially with Joey McGuire winning 3 high school championships at Cedar Hill. So that's Jalen Brewster. And I don't know if you can get him away from Texas Tech. Certainly, look at Cody Campbell's willing to spend, and he's the number one player in the country, and he's from Texas. And if they want him, they might get him. But LSU certainly can put as good a foot forward as anybody. When you think about having playing in the SEC, playing in Tiger Stadium, sending guys to the NFL, and now you've got Ed Ogeron on staff helping with the defense, who's obviously a great defensive line coach, in addition to Blake Baker and Kevin Peoples, who are also great recruiters, great defense, and the fact that Richard Anderson and Deuce Gerald's as true freshmen stepping on campus, running, taking reps with the ones at tackle. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why. Like you have something to sell, and then it's certainly going to come down to financial. But remember, Lane. If I had the clip here, I've played it a bunch on Locked On. I need to have it saved here. Let me see if I can find it real quick. I need to save that clip here. So Lane made a comment basically, I think it's this one. During spring, Lane made a comment about how they go about recruiting and prioritizing elite level high school athletes. Especially in the portal era when guys don't stay. So that's the challenge. Waiting for it to load. I think this is the one. And he's saying it's loading, it's spinning. I'm trying to get it queued up so I can play it for you. But because I think this is the one. Here, I think this is the one. So listen.
He looks really good.
No, that's not the one. Dang. Anyway, the point Lane is making is all right, let me try this one. I think it might be this one. Anyway, all right, I won't worry about playing it. What he says is, he challenges the guys to really evaluate character of the high school player as well, because guys don't stay. So you want to recruit guys who will handle adversity well and who will stay. Because what you don't want to do, I'm paraphrasing, what you don't want to do is spend a lot of money on a guy to come in as a freshman. It doesn't go well for them as a freshman, and then they leave. Well, then you spent that part of your cap, your roster cap, on a player that you got nothing out of. They came, they left. I think the best example I can give you is like Lance Hurd. Lance Hurd was a 5-star. You got an LSU for a year, and he didn't play, and then he left. Well, what did you get? Nothing. Like whatever you spent on him, you'd have been better off spending on someone who actually played. So it's not to say Hurd wasn't a good player, good prospect, all that sort of stuff. It's just different. Whereas in a different era, you'd recruit that 5-star, he'd sit for a year or two, whatever, then play. It's just not like that anymore. So when I think about Brewster, that's a guy who at that position, they've clearly prioritized and would very likely be someone who comes in and plays right away. The contrast to that was Joshua Dobson, the 5-star number 1 corner, who, if you look at 27, you're going to have very likely Pickett back. Woodland could come back for a senior year with NIL. I think he probably would. Jakeem Jackson could be back. Haven Finney will be there. Aiden Anding's coming off of injury. So it's a crowded room where there may not be a very clear, obvious path to the field for Dobson in year 1. Might he be an awesome player in time, yes, but there's certainly going to be other places where he would be an immediate plug-and-play starter. It just wouldn't necessarily be at LSU in 2027. So you have to sort of say, okay, we're going to punt, and then in 28, maybe look at whoever the number one corner in the country is for 28 and go all in there. Because at that point, you'd be losing Pickett and Woodland and all those guys. Let's see if this is the one.
I think that offensively.
Nah. Dang it. I need to find him. Anyway. All right. Robert, good morning. Thinking about Sorsby, Texas Tech didn't know about his gambling addiction. Wonder how long colleges start digging in on players like the NFL before committing rev share. Yeah, I mean, I think obviously the other thing, Robert, is if Sorsby doesn't play, he's not going to get paid. So, but that's to say they probably would have recruited a different quarterback. 161 down. Let's go. DJ, good morning. Wade, good morning. Try not to look at this through purple and gold glasses. It feels like the media double standard with LSU is excessive, especially against Lane, Wade, and Kim. I think those are definitely targets. And some of it because of their outspoken nature. I don't want to say is their own doing, but they egg it on. They stoke the flames. But I don't necessarily think it's an LSU thing. Like, I don't think they're going after coaches because they coach at LSU. I just think LSU happens to have some very high-profile coaches that are lightning rods for conversation. Hey, Robbie, good morning. I liked what Mosley, the new Pelicans head coach, had to say, listening to his introductory press conference. Seems like he doesn't put up with BS from his players. Heard he is a defensive-minded, aggressive coach. Feels Zion and those players need that. Also heard he didn't get along with some of the players in Orlando. There's no doubt that he's a great defensive coach, Robbie. I mean, he took Orlando to being a consistent top 5 defensive team in the NBA. So that definitely is his MO. Do you have the players to implement that system? We'll see. But they got to go get a big. Like, they've got to get a center. So we'll see what they do this offseason. All right, y'all, I think we're just about done. Do me a favor. Please smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, Facebook, like the page, share the post. If you're on podcast, please subscribe on your favorite podcast app. All right, y'all have an awesome day.